Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's neighborhood meeting. My name is Michelle Freethy, and I'm the Senior Planner with the City's Development Services team. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to present to you, the neighborhood, a development concept being considered by the owner and development team prior to a formal development application being submitted to the city. This provides an opportunity for the development team to hear initial community feedback and incorporate it into their plans prior to making a full and formal development application to the city. Please be aware we are recording this meeting for the public record. The recording will be used for the purpose of garnering your input and respond to inquiries, and will be considered public information. Please also be aware that as a registered attendee tonight, your mailing or email address will be added to the mailing list so you can receive further information about this application as it progresses. Should you have any questions regarding this collection, please contact the Development Services Department. I would also like to let everyone know that there are staff behind the scenes managing the technology tonight. They're here to make sure the meeting runs smoothly, to grant participants the opportunity to speak, and to assist with any questions in the chat. Please bear with us if we have any issues. And if for some reason you get disconnected, please feel free to log in again. So the intent of tonight's meeting is to provide members of the public with an opportunity to become familiar with the development application and the planning review process, and to also ask the applicant questions and provide feedback. What to expect? You should expect a brief overview of the city's review process and timing, a presentation from the applicant's representative describing the proposal, and an opportunity to ask questions of either the applicant or city staff and provide comments or identify concerns with the application. What not to expect? City staff on the application, or a city staff recommendation on the application, or a detailed analysis of the proposal. This will occur later in the process. And a debate on the merits of the proposal between city staff and the applicant. Before we get into the presentation, I just want to give you a quick highlight of the next steps in the application process. This neighborhood meeting is established early in the development process to ensure local concerns are incorporated or addressed through the city's review. After this meeting, we expect that the applicant will make a formal submission for this development project. Formal submissions undergo a full technical review and must address comments received from this neighborhood meeting, from the city's technical departments and external agencies, and from members of the public more broadly. In conjunction with this, a statutory public meeting will be held virtually on the application at a future affordability committee. At a public meeting, applicants present their application to council, answer questions, and provide an overview of and response to any issues or concerns identified during a neighborhood meeting. As part of a public meeting, members of the public also have an opportunity to provide verbal or written comments. Following a public meeting, staff will continue the technical review process, and the applicants will make any necessary revisions to the development proposal. Once the review process has concluded, a staff recommendation report is brought forward to council for their consideration. All comments received throughout the review process, including those received at the neighborhood and public meetings, are identified and addressed in the staff report and form part of staff's recommendation on the subject application. A staff report for this particular application would likely be brought forward to council sometime in the latter half of 2024. I will now move on to the applicant's presentation. As I mentioned, the proposed project and application will be presented first, which we will follow with a question and answer period, or question and comment period. So tonight we are focusing on a rezoning application proposed at 375 to 393 Yonge Street. The applicant's planner is Corey Chisholm from MHBC Planning. The proposal would permit the development of a 6-story mixed-use building with 120 residential units and approximately 446 square meters of ground floor commercial space. I will now stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to hand the meeting control over to Corey, who will first introduce himself, and then he will share his presentation on the proposed development.
Thanks, Michelle. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Perfect. I'll just share my screen and I'll go through my presentation. So good evening, members of the public, any members of council that may be in attendance. My name is Corey Chisholm. I'm with MHBC Planning in Barrie, and I'm the planning consultant for the proposed development. So I have a brief presentation I'll take everyone through to understand the proposed development concept at this stage, and then happy to answer any questions or comments that I'm able to this evening following the presentation. And if not, we are listening to all the comments we receive this evening, and when we do move forward with the formal zoning bylaw amendment and site plan approval applications that Ms. Freedy mentioned earlier, we will provide written to submit will be available on the city's website once a formal application is made. So members of the public will be able to review the plans, the full reports and studies. Apologies. Okay, so I'll proceed. The address of the proposed development is 367 to 393 Yonge Street. For those that are familiar with the area, it's the land in between the Starbucks, kind of on the southeast side, and the Dairy Queen on the northwest side. So part of the property is comprised of the currently vacant parcel of land. And then there is a building, it was formerly a law office that would be demolished and consolidated to form the proposed development. So the purpose, apologies. So the purpose of the proposed application is to change the current zoning from the general commercial zone, which is C4, to the mixed use 1 special provision zone. So that's the zone the city uses along the intensification corridors for mixed use or intensification buildings such as the one proposed. So it is a 6-story building that is proposed, and it is proposed to be a rental building as opposed to a condominium building. It's noted the draft new City of Barrie zoning bylaw is proposing to zone the site as well as the properties up and down Yonge Street, generally the neighborhood intensification zone, which would permit the proposed building when that would come into effect. Our applicant does want to proceed sooner than waiting on the new city zoning bylaw to come into effect, so we have moved forward with submitting a zoning bylaw amendment application. So again, the location of the site seen here on the aerial. So this is an excerpt of the city's official plan. This is the existing land use designation, and it is in that yellow area, which is the neighborhood area designation, which does permit a variety of residential and commercial uses, including mixed use buildings. Here's the proposed site plan. So the building is rectangular in shape and pushed as close as possible to the Yonge Street right-of-way. That's in line with kind of urban design direction in the city's official plan for intensification corridors. So what that does is enhances a strong presence on the streetscape, and it also maximizes the separation distance and transition from lower density uses in behind. So we do have the parking area from the existing entrance and in behind the proposed building. It would be a shared access with the Starbucks to the southeast. And there is a generous amenity area proposed kind of in the back triangle of the property. So that would be left as open space, kind of like a little parkette for the future residents of the building, and also help with buffering and separation from the lower density uses in behind. Right now, we are still working to finalize details of the interior of the building, including details of the ground floor. We are contemplating it being a mixed-use building. We're just before we make the full application, we'll finalize those details on how much may be proposed as commercial on the ground floor, but any commercial would be on the Yonge Street side of the building, fronting Yonge Street. So here's a proposed elevation of the building. This would be from the Yonge Street side. Here's another kind of zoomed out elevation, and then we also see the northeast elevation, which is the back side from the parking side. There are parking stalls that would be covered underneath underneath the second story of the building. We can see the main entrance there. So this image here just identifies the existing zoning. So we can see the property marked in a star. The existing zoning is the city's general commercial zone, or C4. So in order to facilitate the proposed development, we do need to make that zoning bylaw amendment application to change the zoning to a mixed-use zone. As mentioned, this is the current draft new zoning bylaw. This is not yet in effect. It's still a process that's underway. The site is in the dark pink or purple color, which is the neighborhood intensification zone. And you can see that is generally up and down Yonge Street, and really that's enacting the city's vision for these intensification mid-rise type projects along intensification corridors.
Looks like we might have lost Corey. Maybe we want to just proceed with our questions and answer period. We will now open up the meeting. Here, let me just share my screen. Oh. There we go. We will now open up the meeting to members of the public for questions and comments.